Hi everyone, I hope y'all had a great holiday. I had a cold over the holidays, so I didn't get a chance to do any 12 by 12 layouts until just today, which is January 4th. I started off with this sketch, even though this was the sketch from December from the Scraptastic Kit Club, and it's a little late to be using that sketch, but it was a really good one, so I wanted to make sure I got a chance to use it. So that's what I'm starting off with. I'm just having a look through the Home for the Holidays kit, and I love this foil doily paper from the Maggie Holmes collection, but I'm not going to use it. I think it's from the flea market collection, and I'm just having a look at what I think might go along with these two pictures of my girls with matching pajamas that match with their American Girls pajamas. Their aunt, who is a seamstress, she made them pajamas and matching pajamas. It was really cute. So basically I picked out all of my very favorite papers here from the kit, and there are a lot of them, and they're all from all different companies, so I hope I can keep this straight when I go to tell you what everything is. So I'm going to first start by trimming up my photos. I printed them at 3 by 4 so that 2 of them would fit within the space of a 4 by 6. I did that because the sketch called for one 4 by 6, and I didn't want to offset the scale of the sketch. I wanted to follow this sketch quite closely because I like it a lot. And so this top paper here, the red and white circles, is by Teresa Collins, and the collection is called Santa's List. Before I start using my pattern papers, though, I'm just going to mat these photos. I'm going to kind of mat them as one on this piece of really rich red cardstock that came in the kit. This is basil cardstock. And so I'm just going to pull out my trimmer. I didn't have my other trimmer handy, so I'm using my old trimmer today. And I really like how that just puts a very subtle red mat around the paper, around the photo. And now I'm just cutting this piece. This is a really pretty floral. It's probably my second favorite print in the kit. So I'm cutting that in such a way that lots of it is going to show, and then I'm cutting the plaid paper so that it basically mats most of the 4 by 6 sized photo. And then I'm cutting this Teresa Collins paper from the Santa's List collection, and I'm putting that in the very background so that it pretty much pokes out on all 4 sides. Now I'm just going to write down some of my ingredients because I'm using papers from so many different collections. I don't want to get mixed up, and this is what I do. It's just my own personal list that I use for making sure that I put the right things in my blog posts when I post them, and also for right now, like narrating. So right now I'm going to tell you that plaid paper that I just pulled out there is from Echo Park. It's from the Reflections of Christmas collection. Then the floral one is by Pink Paisley from the Snow Village collection. And then that red one is from Teresa Collins. The red and white large polka dot is from Teresa Collins' Santa's List. And I think that's it. And then of course the red matting paper was by Basil. And at this point I haven't yet figured out what my background will be. I have kind of 2 in mind, and I'll show you those when I come to them. So I'm just going to take it looks like I'm using my fine marker, and this is a Faber-Castell marker. Just all my markers are running out, so I'm just I have to go shopping for more markers, and I'm just using them all up while I wait. And I'm just doing either a double or triple line all the way around all of the papers. And now this is the paper that I had originally picked out to be the background. This paper I really love, and I really want to use it as a background, but it's actually not going to make it onto this layout, simply because this layout is a little bit more layered and detailed. I wanted to put a lot more layers and details on this one than I'm going to do on some of the ones that I'm going to do later on today. And so this background is so busy that I think I ended up wanting to save it for a less busy layered layout. Because I really want to put lots of embellishments and stuff on this. It's going to have a medium amount of embellishments on it. But even right now, it's really that background is competing with those pattern papers. And so really this is much, much better. The unfortunate side of using this paper, which is from Echo Park, and it's the Reflections of Christmas paper, that I have, it's on the top right there. I'm going to cut off the strip right now. The unfortunate side of this is that the back side of this is a lovely map paper, which I absolutely love. That's that Echo Park Reflections of Christmas again. So I'm just going to go ahead and outline that because I ended up outlining the wrong paper for the background. And I'm going to come to another layout later on today, and I'm going to wish I had that full piece of map paper because I want to use it on my Polar Express layout later on. But at this point, I don't know that I'm going to do a Polar Express layout. And I rarely, even though I absolutely love that map paper, I rarely will hold papers back because I never know if I'm going to get around to using it. So if I have a good use for one side of the paper, I just go ahead and use it, even if it means that I'm going to sacrifice another side that I really, really love, like ended up being the case in this layout. And I rarely regret it. It turns out that I did regret it in this situation, but only a little bit. I made do with what I had, and you'll see that layout coming up in either today or tomorrow. So I rarely regret it, and so I went ahead and used the back side of that map paper. Now, while I was talking about all that, what I've been doing is I took the back side of that floral paper, which was by Pink Paisley again. It had this lovely gold and cream stripe. It's not a foil or a shiny gold, it's just a gold looking color, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So the sketch called for a fishtail banner to go between some of the layers, so I decided to use that paper for that. So I just cut out the banner and then I outlined it so it would coordinate with all the other papers. I really want to use this die cut. It says holiday style, and because the kids and the dolls are wearing pajamas, it's kind of like a style. It's clothing anyways. I wanted to use this die cut. Again, I try to use up everything I can at the time, so I know that I'm not sure that I'm going to use make any other layouts that are about clothing during this holiday season. So because this one is about clothing, I want to make sure I get this holiday style die cut on my page. So I just sprayed it with some Gold Lame by Heidi Swapp. That's the Heidi Swapp Colors Shine. And then I added a light coat of Estate Green, which is a fairly dark green, and I don't usually use it other times besides Christmas, but it makes a really lovely, especially when you layer it on top of gold, it makes like a much nicer color of green. And so now I'm going to work on my title, and I'm doing this a little bit different order than usual. I usually leave my title till last, but I know that I know what my title is going to be. So I wanted to say just like me, being the title, and that's a bit of a play on words because not only is the layout about the girls dressing like their dolls, which makes them just like me, just like them, but just like me is what they used to call the dolls that look just like the girls. And so it's one of the lines of the American Girl dolls. They've actually changed the name of it, so it's not called Just Like Me now, it's called My American Girl, but we still use the phrase just like me around here every once in a while. So I love how these letter stickers all coordinate. They're all made by Fancy Pants, and the large stickers are like a large bold font, but the smaller letters come from the Fancy Pants Christmas collection this year. What's it called again? Fancy Pants. I can't find the name of it, but it's from the Fancy Pants Christmas collection this year. So I'm just putting all of those layers together now, and I love how my title looks. I just have it sitting on the piece of wax paper off to the side, ready to put in place. I want to make my placement. My placement of this title is going to depend upon where that fishtail banner type thingy hangs down. And so I'm just kind of centering the main part of my layout. I'm putting some adhesive on that banner, and then I'm just going to stick it in place, wiggle it around until I have it lined up the way I want it with the title. And then, I don't know if you saw it because I did it really fast, but I did press down on it just to make it stick. So now I'm just using my wax paper to line up where I want it to be. And what I do is I kind of I lift up the sticker and leave it hovering over the wax paper so I know exactly where I want it to be. And then I quickly move the wax paper out of the way and place it down so that I can put it just where I want it. I'm not always this particular about the placement of my letters. Sometimes I just slap them on. But for this title, I really wanted to take advantage of the fact that these block letters look so nice together, and I wanted a nice lined up blocky type of title. And now I'm just gonna make the letters in the word me be almost at the end, but not quite at the end, because the J in the just is not quite justified with the L, so I didn't want the two E's to be justified either. Now I'm getting my sewing machine ready. I had broken the thread the last time I used it, so I had to just rethread. Your thread, when you're using foil or metallic thread, it's a good idea to use a metallic needle, which is just a special needle that you get. I think it's just more sharp or something, or thinner, or I don't know. But apparently it keeps your thread from breaking. My thread does still break sometimes, but it doesn't break nearly as often as it did before I used the metallic needles. And you also want to be replacing your needles quite often when you're sewing on paper. So that actually could be why my needle isn't working quite as well, because it probably just needs to be replaced. About 4 or 5 of them come in a package, so I could easily replace it. I just have been too lazy or busy. We'll go with busy. So there's my layout. Kind of the structure of the layout is coming together now, or is pretty much is together. And so now I'm just going to work on doing some of my embellishing. So I'm taking out these embellishments. These are from the Pink Paisley Snow Village embellishment set, and they're just basically a whole bunch of die cuts. Some of them are vellum and some of them are paper. I'm just going to play around a little bit. That star is obviously way off scale for that Christmas tree, but I'm leaving it there to remind me that I want to put a different star on top of that tree, a different one than what comes with it. So I'm just kind of having a look at all of the stars that are there in the kit, and as I pull everything out, I'm just kind of pulling out other options that I might pull out for this layout. That gold poinsettia and Christmas bulb ornament is really pretty, or embellishment I guess it is. It's on vellum and it's gold foil and it's beautiful. I'm just going to layer in a little star flag underneath of it. I'm putting a couple of stars up there. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. And then I end up using that space as just a place to set out a whole bunch of embellishments. And some of them will be brought into my layout and some of them will be left up in the top left corner, which will be my small cluster of secondary embellishments. Pardon me. So I pulled out that arrow, that green vellum arrow, which is pointing to the star in the red banner. I finally found the right size star for that tree. I really like how that one looks. And I'm going to tuck in that reindeer embellishment and layer it with that 6. 6 doesn't really mean anything. It's just a number. There's a whole bunch of numbers in this pack of embellishments, and I have decided to just ignore the numbers and use them as embellishments. So this is shaping up. It's looking a lot like the final product is going to look. I'm just using my ATG to attach some of these. I can just freely use my ATG on that gold vellum embellishment because there's so much gold on it that you're not going to see the adhesive underneath. Sometimes I don't care about seeing the adhesive underneath, and sometimes I do. If there's a lot of other things going on in your layout, you don't always see the adhesive under a piece of vellum. And so that plays a role. And also, if I think I might be going to put something over something, then I also don't care so much about it showing. Just using a piece of dimensional adhesive to pop that star up off the page. And while I'm at it, I'm going to pop a whole bunch of dimensional little, I call them pop dots, but they're not, they're hexagons. I use the ones by Stampin' Up! Because they're half the thickness of some of the other ones, and I don't tear off the backing of it. So they're double-sided tape, and I'm only using one side. And I do that because it helps with layering later. If you decide that you want to put something behind those layers, if they're not attached to the paper, you can just kind of easily lift it up and stick something underneath. I'm sorry for my voice, you guys. So I'm finally giving that holiday style embellishment some adhesive, and I'm going to stick it on there. That's one of the die cuts that came exclusive with the kit. Just use a tiny bit of my ATG to attach that little vellum star down there on the other side of Just Like Me, and that just kind of brings your eye to the other side of the title so that the title isn't quite hanging there in the air. Used another little pop dot on the other side of that tree stump just because, or I guess it's not a stump, it's a trunk, just because it wasn't sitting properly, so I used some tape to hold it down. Having a look at these stickers to see if there's anything that I might be able to add. I took this tiny little thing, it says Be Jolly, it's a teeny little flag. I'm looking for something else tiny that I could kind of put on that cluster. I feel like it needs something towards the 6. I thought about using those little photo corners that came on the sticker sheet, but I decided not to. There we go. I'm going to put holiday up there by the 6, and that gives it the balance that I'm looking for. It also kind of mimics the lines of the tree where the holiday and Be Jolly are kind of staggered the way that the tree branches are. So I'm finally deciding on what's going to go in that top left-hand corner for my secondary cluster of embellishments. Pulling out a whole bunch of stars because I'm thinking I might scatter some stars throughout this layout, but I end up not doing that. I feel like that top corner needs something, so I'm going to pull this label sticker from the sticker sheet. It's from Echo Park, the Reflections of Christmas collection. I'm going to staple the star in place. While I've got my stapler out, I'm just going to stick a bunch of staples in a couple of other places just for some interest. I'm using my Zig 2-way glue pen to stick these 2 other stars down, so I've got a little cluster of 3 stars. And now I'm going to take these Fancy Pants letter stickers, which I've already used for part of the title, and I'm just going to put the year in the blue font. There we go. It's a little bit of a finicky job, but I like how it turns out. I am going to also take my sewing machine and sew over this because that corner is looking a little bland to me. There's so many layers in the rest of the layout, and there's stitching in the other part of the layout, so this just kind of brings that element up. Whenever I put something in the top left-hand corner, or any top corner, one of these secondary embellishments I call them, I like them to not be random. Like I need to kind of bring elements, draw elements from the main cluster and kind of bring them up. So that's where the stitching helps me to kind of unify that cluster. What I'm doing here now is I've just taken some Kaiser Craft little pearl dots. They're kind of like enamel dots. And I'm placing them wherever there are little beads or berries or whatever those things are in that on that little gold foil embellishment. And we're almost finished with this one now. I'm just kind of taking a closer look at it. In the process of doing all of that, that little green arrow piece of vellum, um, it kind of fell off. So I'm just going back and I'm handwriting American Girl. And I'm going to try that out. I had to move one of those dots in order to do that. And I'm just going to lay that down there. And I don't really love the look of that. And so I think I'm going to staple it in place, and then I'm going to change my mind about it. So as I stapled, it went a little crooked, but I actually kind of like it a little bit crooked. I like that look. And here I am just kind of deciding. And then I stopped the camera and went over to my typewriter and typed out the words American Girl. And I'm going to like this a lot better. So I have to trim those down quite a lot because I don't want to cover all of that green arrow. I want most of the green arrow to be showing. So I'm trimming these down quite tiny with very little buffer between the letters and the edges of the paper. But I need them to be big enough that they're going to cover my printing so that you can't see that I had kind of messed up there. So there, I really like that a lot better. I love typewritten cutout strips for titles and for journaling and for just little subtitles and words, places, and stuff like that. So I really, really love that look. So that is much better than the handwriting that I had originally had. I'm going to do my journaling here. It says, "It was an American Girl Christmas. Santa and relatives gave their girls lots of accessories for their dolls. Tanya made them sets of matching PJs. Our girls did not get dolls for Christmas. And they both asked for dolls, but they did not get them. But they were very happy with what they did have." So I'm just going to show you the close-ups now. So there's that top secondary embellishment cluster, and there's my journaling, and you can see those pretty layers just popping out, just the tiniest little bit of that plaid paper in there, and it really, I love how that looks, just teensy little glimpses of things. And the title there, that block title, which I really love how that turned out too. Those letters are just so beautiful. This kit is so full of so many different products from so many different lines. It just baffles my mind how nicely it coordinates with all of it. So everything coordinates with everything else. So here are the pictures. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I've got another couple of layouts coming up for you. I did all of my holiday scrapbooking together tonight, and I might get a chance to do a little bit more tomorrow. So thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I hope you had a great holiday, and I hope you're not sick of Christmas music yet, because here comes some more.